Digimon, you know it, I know it, and if you've clicked on this video, you know exactly what you're looking for when it comes to the trading card game. And I'm here to help you through the basics on how to play the Digimon TCG, what the rules are, and go into the specific phrasing and terms that you can expect playing the card game. Now, to help facilitate the experience for you, this video is going to be broken up into 5 parts so that you can go exactly where you need to go in learning what you want to know. This video will also be broken up into separate videos for each part that I'll be including in a playlist. So if you want to just watch the parts you're interested in, they're there for you. And as a disclosure, at the time of this video, we're going over the rules of the game as they were laid out in 2026. So if you're watching this in the future and things have changed, just let me know in the comments or something. I don't know, I'm not a time stranger. Part 1 is all about card types, the 3 different types of cards the game uses, talking about the general mechanics of your cards and how you digivolve your Digimon. Part 2 is how to play the game. We'll go over the basic formatting of the game, how you set up your board, deck requirements, your win condition, and how to attack. Part 3 is keywords. Keywords is the special abilities that Digimon have to activate and when you can activate them. We'll be going over each and every keyword out there so you know exactly how everything works. Part 4 is special Digivolutions. There is more than one way you can digivolve your Digimon, and we'll be going over every single special type available to you, like DNA Digivolving, App Fusion, Assembly, and the new Dual cards. And finally, Part 5 is going to be the last thoughts and our wrap-up, specifically more of the miscellaneous things like starter decks, as well as some helpful resources out there you may want to look into. With that all being said, let's get started on how to play the Digimon card game.
Hey you, yeah you. Do you know what kind of train this is?
Before we get into things, one thing you need to know is the Digimon card game plays off of the concept of memory. Most actions have a cost you have to play to do, and memory is your resource you have to pay for those costs. Exactly how memory works is going to be covered more in depth in part 2, but keep that in mind as we discuss the type of cards. There is a cost for you to pay to be able to do just about anything in the game. To play the Digimon card game, your deck is going to be composed of any combination of the 3 following card types: Digimon, Tamer, and Option cards. Each specified card having their own memory cost, colors, and effects. Each card can have any combination of the 7 colors the card game uses: red, blue, green, yellow, purple, black, and white. Digimon cards are your bread and butter. These are what you use to win the game by developing and attacking with. And as your main winning condition, they will have a variety of different effects and abilities that can make them quite complicated from an outsider looking in. Since we're trying to keep things simple today, we're just gonna dumb things down. Digimon cards have 5 specific key pieces of information that you need to know to be able to utilize them effectively. Their memory cost, be it their play cost or Digivolution cost, their level, their DP amounts, and their inherited effect. Every card requires memory to be played, be it from 0 all the way up to 20. Digimon are unique in the sense that by digivolving your Digimon into stronger and stronger monsters, you can avoid the play costs that other cards require you to pay, like Tamer and Option cards, for a much cheaper and overall effective cost. Taking Agumon in this example, normally to play this card out, it would cost me 3 memory to do so, but if I were to digivolve him on a red level 2 card instead, it would cost me 0 memory instead, putting a pin on that level 2 for later. Nearly all Digimon have a corresponding level, from the lowest level being level 2, all the way up to level 7. The higher that level, the stronger that Digimon is likely to be, and the more it can physically do with its effects. One of the easiest ways to reflect your Digimon strengths is through their DP or damage points. Each Digimon, with a few exceptions, have a DP amount. When 2 Digimon battle, the Digimon with the highest DP wins the battle, and the one with the lowest amount is deleted. And naturally, if they both have the same DP amount, they both are deleted. Taking a look back at our example here with Agumon, if we were to have him fight against a stronger Digimon like Wargreymon, he would get absolutely demolished in a battle with the DP advantage Wargreymon has. And that might make you assume it's better to just try and go for playing the big stuff to win the game over something smaller like Agumon. but with the Digivolving mechanic and what Inherited Effects does, you'll see that that's not always the case. Most Digimon have an inherited effect, and by themselves, a Digimon like Agumon is just cannon fodder to throw at your opponents with. When you Digivolve him onto a Digimon like Greymon though, that Greymon now inherits the 1000 DP inherited effect that Agumon has, changing him from 4000 DP Digimon to a 5000 DP Digimon so long as you can keep his sources. And as you continue to build up the line, Digivolving from level to level, your Digimon will become more powerful, and when we start going into effects proper, a lot cheaper to have out over just playing the War Greymon himself. All of this combines into the bread and butter of how your Digimon cards work and are used, making the first person that can build up their stack and keep them alive, able to control the board and win the game. And to better help your Digimon be effective in their roles, Tamers and option cards exist to assist you in their roles too. Tamer cards are your support cards. They stay on the board and usually have a variety of effects that can be activated or used to help support your Digimon as the game progresses. Most of the effects that you can get from them are going to be covered in our explanation with keywords, but just know that while you have a Tamer on the field, while they cannot attack your opponent directly, they are able to support your Digimon in making sure they can do what they need to do to win the game. Finally, there is option cards, one-time effects that you can pay a memory cost for to activate to affect your opponent's board. Option cards have an additional rule where, unlike Tamers or Digimon, you not only have to pay the memory cost to activate them, but also have to have the Digimon or Tamers on the board with the sum total corresponding colors to activate them. All of these are your tools for success, and with these tools you will be able to build your board and defeat your opponent before they have the chance to strike. But now that we know what are the cards, we need to know how to play the game.
I came up with a really great idea, dude.
Yeah?
I'm gonna play both sides.
Why would you tell me that?
Now that we know what cards are used, it's time for us to go over the basics, your deck requirements, how to set up the field to play, and the specific turn order and mechanics that roll the game as you play. We'll be using the cards we used in our examples going forward to help visualize the game, and other cards as needed to help explain the different effects. The Digimon card game is exclusively a two-player game, the game area broken up into two opposing sides for each player to face each other. Each player assembles a 50-card deck and an optional egg deck with a maximum of 5 eggs. Your egg deck holds your level 2 Digimon or Digi-Eggs, and as we get into the turn order, you'll see exactly why they are broken up separately from the rest of your main deck. With your deck, you can only ever have a maximum of 4 of the same number card, be it Digimon, Tamer, or option cards, in your deck with a few exceptions. And while there are some people out there that would love nothing more than to play nothing but Numemons, no. Please, just no. Once you have assembled your deck, it's time to set up your field. Each player's field is broken up into 6 specific zones: your deck, your trash, the raising or breeding zone, the battle area, your security zone, and last but not least, the memory gauge. Most of this is self-explanatory. The deck zone is where your deck goes, and the trash zone is for your trash cards. But we're going to briefly elaborate on the other 4 areas. The battle area is where both you and your opponent will be playing cards out to affect one another and actively engage in battle. And while your opponent may be able to affect all the other zones depending on the deck they build, they cannot touch the next area on the board, the raising breeding zone. The raising breeding zone is your safe zone, and where exclusively your Digi-Egg card deck reside during the game. In this area, you're able to Digivolve without fear of having your opponent being able to affect them. While in the raising breeding zone, you're unable to attack your opponent or activate your own effects, but so long as you have the memory to do so, there is no limit on how big your monster can get while in the breeding area, outside of the natural level limit. The security zone is essentially your life points. The goal of the game is to attack your opponent directly to win, but so long as there are security cards on the field, both you and your opponents have to remove them first before being able to win the game. And lastly, the memory gauge is where both you and your opponent will keep track of how much memory you have on each turn. More on that later. With the field area out of the way, all that is left to be able to play the game is the turn order of the game. The Digimon TCG is all about timing, and they are broken up into different phases that you can move in and out of as the game progresses. Your general turn order for the game is broken down into 5 main phases that operate in linear fashion. Your start of turn, raising, breeding phase, start of main phase, and the end of turn. We'll be going over exactly what each phase looks like here in a few seconds, with the rest of the rules once we go through our example of the turn order, but we have one additional phase we need to discuss called attack phase that falls outside of the main phases. Unlike what we just discussed, the attack phase can occur at any point within those 5 phases as often as you are capable of attacking with your Digimon, depending on the circumstances. Because of this, attacking itself has 4 unique phases of its own that occur within the specific battle: when attacking, counter timing, battle, and then end of battle. These 4 phases become more important when we get into our effects and keywords, but for the time being, keep this in mind as part of our general phasing. Now that we have an understanding of the basics, it's time to put everything to practice and see an actual example of how the game plays out. To start the game, both players will roll a dice to determine who goes first. Once the turn order is determined, each player will shuffle their own decks and have their opponent cut their deck before drawing the first 5 cards of your deck. This will be your play hand, though if you dislike it, you have the opportunity to mulligan the hand once by reshuffling your entire deck, having your opponent cut it, and drawing 5 cards again. After mulligan though, you will be forced to play that new hand, so keep that in mind. Once you have your play hand, both players will take the top 5 cards of their deck and will place them face down without looking at them into a layered stack. The top card of the deck becomes the bottom card of the stack, and once both players have their board set up, you will place the memory counter on the number 0 on the memory gauge and you're all set to begin. For the purpose of this example, we will be going first, because winners always go first. And as a rule at the start of the game, the player going first does not draw at the start of your turn. So for the start of our turn, since there's nothing on the board to activate, we will enter into our raising breeding phase. During this phase, you can either hatch a Digi-Egg by flipping over the top card face up, promote a level 3 or higher Digimon from the breeding zone, or do nothing and keep the Digimon Digi-Egg in the breeding zone. Digi-Eggs themselves cannot leave the battle area, and you are only allowed 1 Digimon in the baby area at any given time. As we don't have a Digi-Egg yet, we're going to hatch our first egg, Koromon. Next would be the start of main phase, and again, since we have nothing to activate, we'll just go straight into the main phase. From here, you could play any card in your hand as you so choose, but as we're at 0 memory, the moment that we give our opponent 1 memory or more, our turn would end. This is your choke point as well as your opponent's, and depending on your actions, you can give your opponent as little or as much memory as the cards in your hand can provide. As we want to start developing our board, we're going to use this Agumon in our hand and digivolve into our Koromon for 0 memory since it meets Agumon's Digivolution requirements. Every time you digivolve your Digimon, you draw a card, and because we digivolved for 0 memory, we've managed to develop a card and draw a card for free. And since it's still our turn, we can still develop our board, so to end things off, we're going to pay 4 memory to play out Tai onto the field. Now, as we arrive at the end of turn phase, any last lingering effects are processed, and then our opponent can now begin his turn at 4 memory. Now the game begins in earnest, and with it being the start of our opponent's turn, they'll proceed to draw a card at the start of turn. They'll enter into the breeding raising stage where they'll hatch their own Koromon as well. Start of main, no effects activate since there's nothing on the board, and they'll immediately transition into their main phase. They'll digivolve their own card, Agumon, for 0 memory to draw a card, and then they'll pay 3 memory to play another Agumon onto the field. And to end their turn, they're going to be playing out their own Tai to put us at 3 memory. End of turn occurs, and since there is nothing to activate, it goes back to our turn. And just like that, we've experienced our first full interaction of the turn order. Pretty simple when we get down to the gist of things, right? There is a few last things we need to talk about before we get into our effect descriptions, so we're going to continue like we would normally at the start of our turn. We'll draw for our start of turn. For the breeding raising phase, we will promote our Agumon to the battlefield, and then we'll enter into our start of main phase. and since there are no effects to activate, we'll just transition right into mana phase. The last mechanic we need to talk about is suspending, and this is an action used to both activate specific effects a Digimon may have, or to declare an attack. Suspending is the act of putting your top face Digimon card on its side to signify the use of its action. Since we don't have any other effects than attacking right now, we're simulating this for an attack. When your Digimon is suspended, they are unable to unsuspend until the start of your turn. When attacking with a Digimon, you may declare a target at your opponent's security, your opponent directly if they have no security cards, or a suspended Digimon. You're probably asking yourself now, why didn't my opponent attack me with his Agumon he has on the field? Digimon that are immediately played on the battlefield cannot attack until their next turn. They can still suspend and activate other effects, but to be able to attack, with some exceptions, they have to wait until their next of turn. As our Agumon was played last turn and is able to attack, let's simulate what an attack into security would look like. As we initiate the attack, we would activate any effects that might occur during our attack, in which case there are none, and then we will enter counter timing. As our opponent's Agumon has no effects during our counter timing phase to interrupt our attack, we will enter into the battle phase and begin our battle with our opponent's security. Your Digimon by default can do one security check, so when our Agumon swings into the security, your opponent will reveal the top card of their security, and one of two scenarios will happen. If a Digimon is revealed, your Digimon will battle them, and if their DP is lower than the Digimon revealed, they will be deleted in the process. If your Digimon reveals a Tamer card or Option card, they will survive the check, but any of security effects that those cards may have will activate since they were revealed in security. So looking back at our Tamer and Option cards, for example, Tai, when checked from security, would be able to play itself onto the battlefield without paying the cost, and Gaia Force would allow it to activate its main effect without paying the memory cost. No matter what happens, by attacking your opponent's security, you're still doing damage to them, but what exactly you might be revealing in the process is at the luck of the cards and can make or break a game. So there's always some risk in attacking your opponent, as well as a chance for a comeback depending on what's revealed. With that being said, we've gone over all the basic rules and mechanics of the game. And now we have the basics in mind, it's time for us to get into the real meat of things with our next section, keywords.
And holy shit! We'll always love you! I can't believe you did this to me! God damn it! How could you do this to me?
Keywords are broken down into two different categories, timing keywords and Digimon effect keywords. There is a whole list of different keywords that can be used on a card, and we're going to at least touch on all of them at the time of this recording, but keep in mind that this is an ever-growing list and things may even change as time progresses. First, we're going to start off with our timing keywords. They're pretty straightforward in what they do, but are typically the most text-heavy in as they specify what activates in each instance. These keywords inform you of the exact situation that needs to occur for them to activate and are broken up into two different colors. Blue keywords are when your effects can activate, be it from your phases or specific actions you perform. These should be rather straightforward in when you can do them, but let's do a quick rundown. Start of your turn. These effects can only activate at the start of your turn. Start of your main phase. These effects can only activate at the start of your main phase, so after your breeding raising phase. On play, these effects can only activate when you play the card onto the battlefield. When digivolving, these effects can only activate when digivolving on top of another Digimon. When attacking, these effects can only activate when your Digimon attacks. End of attack, these effects will only activate once the attacking Digimon's attack has ended. On deletion, when this Digimon is deleted in battle or by effects, you will activate this effect. Your turn. These effects can only activate when it is your turn. Opponent's turn. These effects can only activate when it is your opponent's turn. All turns. These effects can activate during your turn or your opponent's turn. End of turn. These effects can activate at the end of your turn. End of opponent's turn. These effects can activate at the end of your opponent's turn. Security. When this card is revealed in security, so when your opponent attacks your security and reveals the card, activate this card's effect. Main. These are effects that can be activated during the main phase of your turn at any time. Counter. These are effects that can be activated during counter timing. When moving. These effects are activated when the Digimon moves from the breeding raising zone to the battle area. End of all turns. These effects are activated at the end of both your turn and at the end of your opponent's turn. Like I said, these are all pretty much self-explanatory on what these keywords do. But if you ever get confused, just keep in mind of the phases of the game and you can relate when each keyword activates during it. Purple keywords, however, are what is needed for the effect to activate, most commonly used when a specific effect requires cards to be located or used in a location to become active. And as you can imagine, they're probably what you expect to be. Hand. The card needed for this effect needs to be located in the player's hand to be used for this effect to activate. Trash. The card needed for this effect needs to be located in the player's trash for the effect to be able to activate. Breeding. The card for this effect needs to be located in the player's breeding raising zone for the effect to be able to activate. Security. Not to be confused for the blue security, purple security requires this card to be located in the player's security zone, often face up, for the effect to be able to activate. X per turn. This keyword used to be purple, but is now red on certain cards. This is essentially the limit on how many times the effect can activate per turn. The most often one you'll see is once per turn, but there is a possibility more cards will be made that increase the overall amount, so keep that in mind. And last on our list is the most important one, our Digimon effect keywords. Each keyword in this category has a specific definition on how this effect works and can be activated. While some cards can only have these keywords activate alongside our purple or blue keywords, other cards have them as persistent effects available to them, and the card will tell you whether or not the effect is always available or limited. It's a long list, but I'm going to go through them as fast as I can. Ready? Let's go. Blocker. When your opponent's Digimon attacks during counter timing, by suspending this Digimon, you may redirect that attack to your Digimon instead to battle. Security attack plus X. This Digimon gets additional security checks per attack. Security attack minus X. This Digimon loses security checks per attack. Recovery plus X. Deck. Place the top cards of your deck as your top security card. Piercing. When this Digimon attacks and deletes a Digimon in battle, it checks security before the attack ends. Draw X. Draw the specified number of cards. Jamming. This Digimon cannot be deleted in battle against Digimon in security. Digisorption. When this Digimon in your hand would be digivolved into, by suspending one of your Digimon, reduce the Digivolution cost by the specified amount. However, the Digivolution cost cannot be less than 0. Reboot. At the start of your opponent's turn, this Digimon unsuspends. De-Digivolve X. Trash the specified amount of top stack cards from your opponent's Digimon. You can only de-Digivolve down to a level 3 card. If no level 3 card is present, de-Digivolve until the specified amount has been fulfilled or the Digimon has no more Digivolution sources. Retaliation. When this Digimon is deleted in battle, delete your opponent's Digimon as well. Raid. When this Digimon attacks, you may change the attack target to one of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon with the highest DP. Digiburst X. By trashing the required number of Digivolution sources underneath your Digimon, activate this effect. Rush. This Digimon may attack the same turn that it was played. Blitz. This Digimon may attack when your opponent has one or more memory at the end of your turn. Delay. When a card with a delay effect is played, place this card in the battle area. Then, on your next turn, by trashing this card, you activate this card's effects should you meet the following activation requirements. Guard. When any of your other Digimon would leave the battle area by your opponent's effects, by deleting this Digimon, they don't leave the battle area. Engage. At the end of your turn, this Digimon may attack. Decoy X. When one of your Digimon with the following requirements would be deleted, by deleting this Digimon, that Digimon isn't deleted. Armor Purge. When this Digimon would be deleted, by trashing this Digimon's top stack card, it isn't deleted. Alliance. When this Digimon attacks, by suspending one of your other Digimon, this Digimon gains security +1 and adds the suspended Digimon's DP for the attack. Collision. When attacking, give all of your opponent's Digimon blocker. Then, after counter timing, one of their unsuspended Digimon must block the attack. Fortitude. When this Digimon would be deleted, you may play this Digimon's top stack card onto the battle area without paying the cost. Progress. While attacking, your opponent's effects do not affect this Digimon. Training. By suspending this Digimon, place the top stack card of your deck face down as that Digimon's bottom Digivolution source. You may look at the card that is being placed face down. Use Requirement X trait, primarily found on option cards. The specified card lets you ignore color requirements to activate. Vortex. At the end of your turn, this Digimon may attack your opponent's Digimon. This Digimon can also attack the turn that it was played. Note, only one Vortex can be activated at the end of your turn. Save. When this Digimon is deleted, place the top stack card underneath one of your tamers as its source. Material Save X. When this Digimon is deleted, place the following number of Digivolution sources underneath one of your tamers. Partition X and X. When this Digimon would leave the battle area other than by your effects or by battle, if the following cards are in your Digimon's Digivolution sources, play one of each of those cards out from beneath your Digimon sources without paying the cost. Note, both cards must be in your Digimon sources for Partition to be able to play them out. Evade. When this Digimon would be deleted, by suspending this Digimon, prevent them from leaving. Ascension. When this Digimon is deleted, you may place this card as the top of security. Iceclad. Other than against Digimon in security, when battling this Digimon ignores DP values, and instead, the Digimon with the greatest number of Digivolution sources wins the battle instead. Decode. When this Digimon would leave the battle area other than by battle, you may play the following source from that Digimon's Digivolution sources without paying the cost. Barrier. When this Digimon would be deleted in battle, by trashing the top card of your security, prevent that Digimon from being deleted. Overclock X. At the end of your turn, by deleting one of your Digimon with the following trait, this Digimon may attack without suspending. Note, only one overclock effect can be activated at the end of your turn. Fragment X. When this Digimon would be deleted, by trashing the following number of Digivolution sources from that Digimon does not leave the battle area. Scapegoat. When this Digimon would be deleted other than by your effects, by deleting one of your Digimon, it isn't deleted. Execute. At the end of your turn, this Digimon may attack your opponent or any of their suspended or unsuspended Digimon. At the end of the attack, delete this Digimon. Note, only one execute effect can be activated at the end of your turn. Link plus X. The number of cards that can be linked to that Digimon. Note, by default, Digimon can potentially have one card linked to them at any given time. Mind Link. Place this Tamer as any of your Digimon's bottom Digivolution cards if there are no Tamer cards in its Digivolution sources. Link X plus Cost Z. Plug this card from hand or the battle area sideways into the specified Digimon in its battle area for its memory cost. Oh, that's a lot. Hold on. I need a second to drink.
What am I doing with my life?
And there you go. That's the complete list of all of the Digimon effect keywords. So anything that I listed above is a possible effect a Digimon may have should they have that keyword. But we do have a few last keywords to go over, specifically involving the alternative types of Digivolution available to you. Over our typical Digivolution process, we have available to us 5 different types of special Digivolutions that fall outside of what you might be used to, as well as a new card type that can be used, which are called dual cards. Each has their own corresponding keywords and requirements, and I'm going to go over each one in depth so you know exactly what they all entail. DNA Digivolving is the act of two Digimon that are on the battlefield and either fulfill the required Digimon names or color and level requirement to DNA Digivolve by combining the two card stacks in the following name order into the card in hand unsuspended for its cost. Some Digimon may have an additional requirement that will be listed, like both Digimon need to be unsuspended, but the main thing to note is when DNA Digivolving, that Digimon is considered a new Digimon and is able to attack the same turn and can activate any effects in its inheritance cards once again. Burst Digivolving is essentially a temporary Digivolution. How it basically works is by paying 0 memory costs and returning the specified card from the battle area into your hand, you can Digivolve into the specified Digimon from your hand. However, at the end of your turn, you must trash this Digimon's top stat card. The Digimon beneath that top stat card would remain on the board, but you'll lose whatever that Burst Digivolution mechanic might have had unless specified otherwise. For our next two, Digicross and Assembly, these two mechanics are nearly identical in what they do, with only one major difference that really changes how they interact on the board. Both Digicross and Assembly are the act of when this card would be played. By placing the corresponding pieces underneath that card, you are able to reduce the play cost of the card that is played. Digicrossing is the most expansive. By placing the specified cards from your hand or the battle area in the specified order underneath that Digimon, you are able to reduce its play cost by the specified amount per card. You don't have to have all of the specified cards to Digicross, but the more sources you're able to use, the cheaper your cost will be. This specifically works with the Save Digimon effect we talked about earlier, where if you have those named Digimon underneath your tamers that utilize the Digicross mechanic, you can activate their specified effects to use those resources underneath them to reduce your play costs. Assembly, on the other hand, is a lot more strict in its requirements. During Assembly, by placing the following required number of cards from your trash underneath the card that is being played, you can reduce the play cost by the specified amount. Unlike Digicrossing, the resources to do Assembly have to be exclusively from your trash, and you have to have every listed card that is specified during the Assembly phase to reduce the play cost. If you are missing one or more sources, tough luck, you'll have to play the full play cost. App Fusion. Now, I didn't touch on link in the keyword section all that much because most of your linking is done via the Appmon, a specific set of Digimon whose whole mechanic is based off of the linking keyword. That's not to say only Appmon can link, but it's where most of the link mechanic tends to occur. When two such required cards are linked together, stack the link card on top of this Digimon stack to digivolve into the specified card in your hand. Blast Digivolving is exclusively used during the counter timing of the attack phase. As of this recording, all Digimon capable of Blast Digivolving also have the Ace Overflow mechanic, but this could change in the future. During counter timing, should you have a Digimon on the field that is normally able to Digivolve into the Ace card in your hand, you may Ace Blast Digivolve into the card in hand without paying the cost. And as you are Digivolving, you will be able to draw a card as well as activate that Digimon's when Digivolving effects, providing you an opportunity to try to disrupt your opponent. Ace Blast Digivolving also works for cards that could DNA Digivolve as well, providing you have the other card needed to DNA in hand and meets its DNA Digivolving requirements. One thing you may have noted is that Ace cards also have a lower play cost compared to Digimon you might otherwise find at the same level. These cards can be played or Digivolved into normally as well, but you always want to be mindful of the Ace Overflow mechanic. Should this Digimon leave the battle area, you will lose the corresponding amount of memory attached to that card. So should that card somehow get put into security, your trash, or back into your deck, expect to pay a heavy cost for using such an important piece. This doesn't include placing this Digimon underneath one of your Digivolution sources, your tamer, or the breeding area, so keep that in mind if you're using the Ace cards. Dual cards are relatively new to the card game, and as of this recording, we only have a few examples to rely upon to get an idea on how these cards work. Dual cards are a combination of both Digimon cards and option cards. Unlike normal Digimon cards, dual cards do not have a play cost. These can only be digivolved into or played out like any other option card should you meet their requirements. However, they do include the new keyword Arts Digivolution. When a dual card option effect is used, if you have a Digimon on the board meeting the requirements of Art Digivolution, that Digimon may digivolve into the dual card used without paying the cost, allowing you both to stack the effects of option card effects and when digivolving effects while further developing your body at a slightly bigger memory cost. And that's it. That's all you need to know to be able to play the game. There are a few resources I want to provide to help you get started with the game, but if you want to call it here, I won't hold it against you. Just be sure to like, subscribe, give me your life savings, and
When will they separate all these voices in my head?
I won't keep you here for too long as I want to make this relatively short, but here's a few quick things that I want to recommend and give you to make your journey into playing the game that much more enjoyable for you. While the terminology I used in this video might slightly differ, there is a full rulebook that I'll provide a link to in the description below, going over all the basics that you could read upon should you need it. The Digimon TCG website also provides a rule glossary where if you have specific questions on rulings for how a card works, you can look it up or ask that question to help you understand what might be going on in a specific interaction. You can also find access to the official ban list for the game, as there are some restricted ban cards you want to look out for, as well as a complete list of token cards. Oh right, some decks you might play do utilize token Digimon like Diaboromon, and while custom token cards are currently banned from competitive play, you can just print out the tokens yourself on the website and use them without any issues. If you're completely new to the game, I'd recommend giving the game a try with the newly released starter decks Digimon Beat Break and Digimon Data Squad, or last year's starter decks Protector of Light and Hero of Hope. A starter deck usually runs about $16 US and can be upgraded with additional cards from other booster boxes, but any one of them will give you a complete deck to start competing with and getting the hang of playing the game for a relatively cheap cost. The Beat Break deck especially seems to be rather strong right now in the meta, and if you like the show, I doubt you'll be disappointed. If you're looking to try and take a look at all the cards that Digimon has to offer, or get started with building your own deck, you can visit www.digimoncard.app to do just that. It's updated quite regularly, it's completely free to use, and you can get a full list of exactly what is all out there to help you figure out what you need to build the decks you want. Bandai, the creators of the Digimon card game, also have their own app called Bandai TCG Plus. While it covers all Bandai card games, they include Digimon with their own form of a deck builder, but more importantly, a way to look at all the locations in your local area that host Digimon store tournaments. Digimon offers out small prizes and exclusive promo cards for participating, and it's a great way to just find like-minded people to play with and get involved with your local community. If you're looking to experiment and try your hand at building your own deck from scratch, keep in mind that the Digimon card game also works off the basis of archetypes. While we did not touch upon it all that much in our main explanation, a vast majority of the cards out there have specific traits that a deck can be built entirely around, and lets you avoid color restrictions. This also works for specific Digimon you might be a fan of, like Beat Break, or everybody's all-time favorite Digimon, Numamon. Lastly, while we're still waiting on a release date for Digimon Elysian, Bandai has developed a demo for the card game called Digimon TCG that you can download and play on your Android or Apple devices. It's quite limited in the cards it uses, but it's a great way to get a feel for the game without paying. If you're trying to play the game online though, there are a few fan-made simulators that you could try to use, but they're not officially by Bandai, so you didn't hear that from me. And that concludes the end of this video. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer. Hopefully this helps you get into the Digimon trading card game or taught you more about it. And if you like what you see here, consider liking and subscribing. Every little bit helps. Okay, bye now.